Hey, Colin, Hiles here, aka The Mindset Guy, with today's video I've entitled The Circles of Life. Which one are you on? So what I'm going to explore in this video are the two different lives that we can live, what I call life by design or life by default. And the whole purpose of the video is for you to be able to answer that question, which one are you on? And if you feel that you're a little bit too much default and not enough design, 5 steps that you can take to get yourself back on track. So stay tuned. Okay, so let's start by looking at life by default, which is the circle that's over here. Now you can start anywhere here, but I'm going to start with the wrong focus. Our focus is in the wrong place. Now, focus and attention are really our creative powers. Where our attention goes, energy flows, right? And there's 3 places that we can put our attention that is the wrong attention, and that is based on the ego, what the ego wants, based on what other people want, and based on what we don't want. So the ego, as we know, is very much into the materialistic aspect. And listen, I'm not poo-pooing the good things in life, all right? The good things in life are the good things in life. The challenge with the ego is it very much believes that happiness sits in the next purchase. And the media do a fantastic job of, trying to influence us into that belief, and they obviously do a very good job. Secondly, other people. So we're very much living other people's expectations, maybe this family's expectation of what's good for us, or society's expectation of what's good for us. And often we go along because we want approval, we want acceptance, and we want love, and these are deep emotional needs. But all they're doing is it's the wrong focus. It's taking us away from what's right for us and what's our truth. And the last focus is around what we don't want. I don't want to be overweight anymore. I don't want to be lonely anymore. I don't want to work in this company anymore. I don't want to be broke anymore, right? So we're focused on the things that we don't want. Now remember, where focus goes, energy flows, right? And that leads then to wasteful actions, because we take action from energy which isn't great. Look, anger, blame, complain, drama, excuses, and fear, right? The A to F. Not any action taken from those generally don't bring about great results. So then the result of that is that we experience struggle, and we experience disappointment, and we experience disillusionment. So these aren't very good. So what do? Well, then we go and escape, and we escape into what I call the maze. And that might mean that I just get home, and I just turn the TV on and I just veg in front of the TV every night. It could be that, I go for a few beers with my mates, and I have a few more drinks than really I should do to try and drown my sorrows, try and make myself feel a little bit better. It could be that I go and buy myself something, cause myself to feel good. And there isn't anything wrong with any of those. But the challenge is that the maze can become the crux. The maze is the only place to experience a little bit of pleasure, a little bit of something good. But obviously when we come out of the maze, life isn't any different. It's exactly the same. So then I come out and I still focus on the fact that things aren't as good as I'd like them to be. I maybe make excuses about it, or I like to blame someone about it, or I complain about it. I get myself wrapped up in drama. And fear is really where I'm coming from. And fear wants us to play, so it's connected to the ego, but it wants us to play small. It wants us to play the little game. It wants us to be the little old me. It wants us to shrink. It doesn't want us to expand. It doesn't want us to step up. It doesn't want us to play the big game. So I experience more struggle. So then I escape. Now here's the danger with the maze. The maze is very seductive. It's saying, come in, come in, come in. It's almost got like bloody Hollywood sign outside of it, right, with all the lights and everything. And we go in, and what we do is we go into the maze and we go in a little bit deeper than we went before. So maybe this time I buy myself something when I don't really have the money and I put myself in debt. Or maybe I take in a substance that, is illegal and is quite dangerous to my health. Or maybe I do something that's really high risk to my life. And once again, it becomes quite dangerous. So that's the thing with the maze, that the deeper we go, the more difficult it is to get out of it. But guess what happens when we come out of it? Life isn't any different. And I look and my life isn't great. I focus on why it isn't great. And that might be in my area of health, wealth, love, and lifestyle. So I make excuses about it, I justify it, I experience more struggle, so then I get back into the maze again. So you can see the danger of living by default. It's a bit aimless, there's no real direction. I can find myself associating with people that live by default. It can become the norm, the way that we do things around here. I mean, I don't watch that much TV, but you see dramas on TV, or you see soap operas on TV. I mean, you see an awful lot of people that very much are living this. It's part of the norm, if you like. Now, let's look at life by design. What does it take to live a life by design? Well, it starts by getting clear on what does the good life look like? What is the ideal life for you? Life by design, right? So you've got to design it. You've got to become that designer. You've got to start with a blank sheet of paper and start getting an idea of what it looks like. So first thing we've got to do is get some direction. You've got to get a target. You've got to get an aim. You've got to get something that you're going for. So 1, 3, 5, 7 years from now, what is it that you want? Then we've got to engage in the discipline. We've got to bypass the maze to take the right actions. And when we take the right actions, we start to get some positive results, immediate positive results. Positive results equals motivation, so we become more motivated. And then we come back round again, and then we engage in the discipline. And then away we go. Now, here's the thing. Over this side, all of this is really pain. This is the only pleasure, right? So, although the way this is mapped out, we can actually spend a lot of time here, and the rest of the time here. Whereas over here, when we first start, when we first come across here, sitting down and getting clear on some aims and objectives and our values and our priorities can be really hard. It's pain, it's not pleasure, it's quite hard. Taking the right type of actions can be quite pain. So there's a lot of pain here. Discipline for most people isn't, discipline means that we override the natural feeling that we want to do something that is right. So this is more pain. This is the only pleasure. But what happens is, as we begin to live this life by design, very quickly, it doesn't take long, the pleasures, all of this is pain. It's like, I don't want to go into the maze anymore. I'm not motivated to go into the maze. I'm not motivated to eat that type of food anymore. I'm not motivated to live that type of lifestyle anymore. I'm not motivated. And we don't go into the maze. We stop associating with people that also, the maze dwellers, as I call them, that live in the maze, right? And so all of a sudden that becomes pain. I don't want to go there. And this becomes pleasure. And that's really the key. So a couple other things. This is very much sort of short term. It's very much immediacy. It's very much to get pleasure really quickly because I want to get out of pain. This is very much long term. It's very much to do with direction and alignment and clarity around values and priorities and taking actions to move towards them. And the sad fact is there's a lot of people that live by default, and very few people that are actually living by design. So let's look at, listen, I could spend a whole day on this. This is a 10-minute video, so I know I've gone through that really, really quickly. Hopefully you get the point as to life by default, life by design. I get an idea of where I am. So if you're thinking I'm more default than I am design, here's 5 things to think about. Firstly, you've got to make a decision. You've got to decide. That's the first thing. Decide that you're going to come and play over here, that this is the circle that you're going to play. And to make a decision means to cut off from any other possibility. That's a real decision. Secondly, you've got to set some goals. You've got to get clear on what is it that you want. And that's the key question. What do you want to achieve 1, 3, 5, 7 years, 10 years from now? I mean, my wife and I are working on an 8-year vision at this moment in time. You've got to sit down and you've got to do that. Thirdly, if you're over here, number 3 is careful not to compare. We're all guilty of it. It's very much a default position. We compare ourselves against others. And if someone is in a beautiful relationship where we're not, we feel shit. Or if they've got the wonderful body and we haven't, we feel shit, right? You want to compare yourself against yourself, not compare yourself against others. Use others as role models, for sure, of possibility, but compare yourself against your own growth. The mere fact you're watching this video says that you're looking to grow, you're looking to develop yourself. And maybe it wasn't that long ago that wasn't the case for you. So, feel good about your growth, compare yourself to yourself. Also, you want to associate yourself with like-minded individuals that have aspirations, big aspirations. Now, my mentor said to me that we're the sum total of the 5 people we associate with. And think about that. It's really quite powerful. And they've proved it, right? They've looked at school children and they've looked at their grades and they found that their grades are the average of the 5 children they associate with. They've looked at income and they found that people's incomes is the average of the 5 people they associate with. They've looked at individuals that end up in prison and they found, and I forget the stat, but I know it's quite high, are the amount of people that actually committed the crime with another individual or others. So who we associate with is a very powerful aspect to living by default or design. So if we're hanging around with people that live by default, the defaulters or the maze dwellers, it's very easy to be seduced by them, and we want to meet their expectations that they have of us. We want their approval. But you know, if you've been with the left turn tribe, you've now got to start to move across to the right turn tribe. And the left turn tribe, they may reject you, but you've got to be able to handle that. That's really, really important. But you're going after something bigger, the bigger prize, and that is your happiness and that is your success. So you've got to think about who you socialize with. Also, right, that lovely computer saying, G-I-G-O, this is number 5, garbage in, garbage out, or good in, good out. You've got to make sure that you're filling your head with positive. We live in a negative world. Just look at the news. And by the way, that can be one of the maze. You sit down and just put the news on. You know, I watch the news 20 times a day. Well, if you're watching the news 20 times a day, do you think it's going to have an effect? Because the news tends to just publicize all the bad things. It doesn't publicize all the good things. And there's got to be as many good things as bad things, but we don't get to see that apart from the one good story at the end, right? And to finish with. So make sure that you're filling your head with good stuff, that you're reading good material, that you're speaking with individuals that are much more this side, and that what you fill your head with is good information, good in, good out. So there's 5 steps that you can take if you feel that you're a little bit too much over this side. And I will finish by saying that also check out my new course, my new program, which is called Life Mastery. It is the ultimate clarity building, awareness raising, block busting, goal getting, life transforming program. It's 23 years of experience put into a program, and you're going to be with like-minded individuals who are all holding each other to, you know, the best that they can possibly be. The link's below the video so you can check it out. This is Colin Hiles. Thank you very much for your time. As I always say, give me some feedback, 1 being not very good, 10 being really good. Got a lot from this, Colin. I'd love to hear from you, any comments. And if you're on my YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.